Welcome to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor. It is December 5th, 2026, the first program we've had in this new year. And I think the way things are going, it should be a very exciting new year. I see gold is up over $120 earlier today. Silver up very strongly too. I'm very happy to have Stephen Soock with me. He's the Vice President of Investor and Investor Relations for Heliostar Metals. I first talked to Charles Funk a number of, well, I guess it was earlier in 2025. And, it's quite a story. The company is making money starting out, it's just almost from the get-go when it went into production, putting other previous mines into production. It's got two mines that are producing right now. And, the crown jewel is Ana Paula, a gold project that is really exciting. That's really what attracted me to this company. But in the meantime, they've got cash flow to help finance the growth of the company. So it's quite exciting. I should say that I'm not being paid for this interview. I like the story a lot. I own it personally, and it is covered in my newsletter. So Stephen is with me, and before I say hello to him, should tell you the stock trades in Canada under the symbol HSTR. You can buy it down here in the States under HSTXF, as I have. 259.7 million shares outstanding. And earlier today, at least when I checked the market, it was $1.91 in US money. So I guess that gives it a market cap of close to $500 million in that vicinity. So it does, as I mentioned, have two projects in production now. And the Anna Paula is the one that's really exciting. So I just want to say thank you very much, Stephen, for spending some time with us today. Glad that you could join us.
No, thanks for having me.
So let's start out maybe with start off with the Anna Paula. Talk about the crown jewel, because I think that is the most exciting part of your story. You just did a PEA on that, so maybe you can give us some idea of the economic potential of Anna Paula.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna Paula really is, as you said, kind of the crown jewel of our portfolio. It really is something unique in the fact that it's a rare combination of both very high grades in a bulk tonnage ore body. So you get economies of scale from that, being able to mine it on a bulk scale,
Mhm.
and you get a very profitable mine by having that grade come in for every ton you pull out of the ground. As you mentioned, we did put out a PEA showing for the first time the economics of the underground project as we re-envisioned this mining project compared to previous operators. At a high level, we show about $1 billion NPV at $3,800 gold with an IRR just north of 50%. That comes from a mine producing about 100,000 ounces a year after a ramp-up period over a 9-year mine life. And really, the important part here is at an all-in sustaining cost of just over $1,000 an ounce. So in today's gold price environment, the margin is just astounding at this project, which is why we're pushing so quickly to try and bring it into production as fast as is feasibly and technically possible from our end.
Mhm. So this is an underground project, I guess, and it's just one of the most astounding intersections I can recall seeing. It was 83 meters, grading 17.35 grams per ton. I mean, that's just astounding. You have a very large, I guess, large structure that's high grade stuff. So you bulk mine that high grade underground, and it's just obviously that's why your all-in sustaining costs are so low, I guess.
That's right. And that's, people often ask, how is your all-in sustaining costs so low? And you hit the nail on the head. It's because we've got these broad intersections of very high grade, and that's rare in the industry. Usually, if you get extremely high grade, it's in very narrow underground deposits that are complicated to mine, require a lot of investment to keep the mine going. We're in the enviable situation where we don't have to do a lot of that capital development to be able to access a lot of high grade ore, which is how our cost structure comes in so low. So we're only looking at building an 1,800 ton per day operation. So it's a relatively small mine. Again, it doesn't take a lot to maintain the underground, doesn't take a lot to maintain a mill and processing facility of that size. So it's really is something special when you look at kind of what comes together to drive those economics. what will really be impressive here and set Heliostar up as a company, growth company for the long term is the cash flow that that'll generate. Obviously, call it $3,000+ per ounce margin
Yeah.
right now. And that'll be about, at today's spot gold prices, it's close to 200 million in net free cash flow annually over that 9-year mine life, which we do hope to extend as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was going to ask you, do you have a sense of the exploration potential there? I mean, you've got quite a jewel right now, but is there more potential? I know you're a mining engineer, not a geologist, but nonetheless, I'm sure you have some thoughts.
Yeah, well, even as a mining engineer, I can see the geologic potential at this one. So there's a few key areas. We'll start off by saying we know we've got a very profitable, 100,000 ounce per year, 10-year mine life project in Ana Paula. Right now, our ongoing 20,000-meter drill program is focused on infill drilling that,
Mhm.
but we're also looking at expanding that footprint as well. There are pods of high-grade mineralization that are near planned underground infrastructure
Mhm.
within a couple hundred feet of where we intend to develop underground. So we also want to target those and be able to flesh those out into additional kind of satellite underground deposits to bring into the mine plan. So that'll add a little bit of meat on the Ana Paula project as we've shown it.
Mhm.
Really, the much larger potential is at depth. We know that below where we've defined the mine plan, there are high-grade intersections that show that the high-grade ore body does extend. Things drilled, more than 10 years ago, but 13 meters at 30 grams a ton, 40 meters, so it's at 120 feet at 6 grams a ton, and these are all kind of below where the mine plan is focused.
Uh,
We know geologically that the Ana Paula mine, as we've envisioned it, is the upper part of a larger system.
mhm.
We know the high grade extends at depth, and we know geologically, because of that model, that there should be a much larger intrusion and contact skarn. And the reason we know that is that our neighbors are mining that much larger deposit. We're just a few miles down the road from Torex's Morelos complex.
Mhm.
It's producing about 450,000 ounces of gold a year. I believe it was the 10th largest gold mine on Earth last year. And they're mining that lower part of the geologic system. Los
Mhm.
Filos, the mine for Equinox, is just another couple of miles down the road from Torex, and it's mining the same sort of structure. So we really want to get hunting for that larger potential at depth. And the way we're going to do that is develop underground further. There's already a 400-meter long decline. So it's at about 1,300 feet towards the ore body that was stopped when the previous operator was bought out for a different project. This year, we plan to continue doing that work to gain access to the ore body and establish an underground drill platform that'll let us target that down depth potential. So, stay tuned, probably near year end 2026, maybe early 2027 by the time we get the assays back to see some of the results from that at depth extension drill program.
Yeah, I wasn't quite hearing when you said that you might see the assays.
Probably around early 2027. It's
Okay.
a single face ramp, so that'll take us about 8 or 9 months to develop to the point where we're able to start drilling, time to drill, time to get the assays back. So, early part of 27, we should start to be able to show to the market what that potential is at depth with some drill results.
Yeah, those intrusive. So you're really talking about a reduced intrusive deposit basically underneath what you're looking at now, or is it this whole thing part of an intrusive system, I guess, probably.
It's part of an intrusive system, but it's the further part away. So we know that these intrusions, where the mineralized fluids come up in the intrusion, they hit the limestone, they react, and they create what we call a contact skarn, where the gold drops out of solution. And it's that contact skarn that Torex and Los Filos are mining. Where we're mining is a part where the fluids manage to escape further away
Ah,
from that
okay,
and
right,
into a pre-mineralized structure where it flooded, and that's how we get that bulk tonnage high-grade
right.
mineralization. That
Yeah,
that pre-mineral structure, the gold flooded into it, and the change in pressure caused the gold to drop out. And that's what the Ana Paula mine, as we've shown in the PEA, is focused on right now.
right. Well, I know I've been following some intrusive discoveries recently, and some of them are pretty good. They're not necessarily the kind of grades you're talking about here, perhaps. What is the sort of the overall grade in your PEA study you just did? Well,
We're at
the
about a 5.5 gram per ton head
Oh,
grade, and that's on a diluted basis. So
wow.
that's after you take into, yeah, it's quite impressive.
That's
Usually,
great.
like I said, you find a narrow vein deposit with those sorts
Yeah.
of grades, and we're lucky to have it in a bulk system.
Yeah, or some of the intrusives I've seen, near surface intrusives that might grade, a gram or less and make a lot of money. But anyway, it's all relative. Every mine is different. That's what makes mining engineering being fun, I suppose, and
That's
challenging.
right.
All right, so that's the crown jewel, but you have lots of other things going on. You've got two projects in production right now, the La Colorada and also San Agustin, I guess, are the two. Can you talk to us about those? What can we expect from those two mines this year?
Yeah, so through 2025 specifically, we were mining from what we call the junkyard stockpile at our La Colorada mine.
Mhm.
It's not junk, but it was mined as waste in the 1990s in a very different gold price environment. However, it grades zero point 0.2 grams a ton and is already drilled, blasted, and hauled to surface. So we've been producing at about an $1,800 all-in sustaining cost, round number, through 2025 and generating some good cash from what was previously thought of as waste. So it's incredible what the gold price affords you in terms of opportunities at
Mhm.
these past producing mines. That's going to continue through January and maybe into February. And then we'll switch focus onto our San Agustin mine, which we just recently started up. Recall, we got the first new open pit mine expansion permit under the Sheinbaum administration in Mexico in
Mhm.
July of this year. Following the receipt of that permit, we then went through a documentation process. There's a little bit of bureaucracy that follows from there. And just in December, we announced that we restarted mining activities there where we are. We took the first blast, had a big celebration as that mine goes back into stacking fresh ore on the leach pad. That's really going to drive our cash flow in 2026. That's going to ramp up through January and then produce around 35 to 40,000 ounces of production this year. So that's kind of where we're looking at that. Sorry, 30 to 40. We haven't finalized our budget numbers yet or
Yeah.
provided guidance, but it'll really be the cash flow driver for Heliostar. And from that, then that allows us, again, especially at today's gold price environment, to fund a bunch of other growth initiatives. We've got the drilling ongoing at Ana Paula. We've got drilling ongoing at San Agustin, looking to
Uh-huh.
extend that 14-month reserve life in the oxides. We think we'll be mining for 2 to 3 years there by the time it's all said and done. So stay tuned for results there. Also at La Colorada, we're looking at drilling off something we call Veta Madre Plus, which is another open pit mine expansion that we're very close to getting the final receipt of permit for, that we'll start the waste stripping for this year, as well as regional exploration at La Colorada. That's another one we're excited to get to. Previous operators only really explored around where the main mine trend is, I'll call it, or
Mhm.
where the three pits are present, but it sits on a larger land package with some really interesting golden soil anomalies, some artisanal workings, past producing pits that have never been rigorously explored. So we want to get to those and continue to show the full potential of the La Colorada broader land package as well. All funded from our internally generated cash flow. So
Yeah.
I think that's really what sets Heliostar apart is we're really an organically funded developer.
Yeah.
You've got the sort of growth trajectory that you typically see in a more traditional developer, but without that necessary evil of equity dilution that usually comes with it, because we've got that cash flow to support development at the drill bit, support development of Ana Paula, and growth beyond. So I think that's really what makes Heliostar something special.
Yeah. So 1,800 all-in sustaining costs at La Colorada. Do you have a sense of what it might be at San Agustin?
Our pre-feasibility study, which is the basis for our mine plan, shows about just shy of a $2,000 all-in sustaining
Mhm.
cost.
Mhm.
Now, a bunch of that will be front-end loaded because of the cost incurred to get the mine up and running.
Yeah.
Again, we haven't provided formal guidance yet, but that's kind of the benchmark that's been set in the technical study. We have seen a little bit of cost inflation. That study is more than a year old now. But that's the sort of ballpark we're looking at. So again, we're looking at a several $1,000 per ounce margin from San Agustin.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, it's just pretty incredible. And I don't think that the investors have really focused yet on the very strong profit margins that the miners are generating now. And I have to think someday we're going to see higher multiples for companies like yours.
I think so. We've had a good run as a stock through 2025, but on a relative basis, we haven't really re-rated that much. We're
Mhm.
covered by four different analysts, and the analyst consensus has us at a spot PNAV multiple of just under 0.3. And that's up from, just over 0.2 at the beginning of the year. So we've only seen a couple of basis points of actual multiple increase for our stock. Despite what it appears when you look at the stock chart. So we think as we're able to continue to execute on our cash generating capacity, demonstrating the additional growth in the portfolio, and being able to execute on the Ana Paula build in 2027, that will continue to re-rate towards more of a, let's call it a 0.5 to 0.6 multiple,
Mhm.
which is more typical for kind of junior developers, or just excuse me, junior producers.
Mhm. Well, you set a goal. I believe the company set a goal of becoming producing 500,000 ounces a year by 2030. So you've got these two we mentioned, plus Ana Paula, which is going to be a big one, 100,000 a year, you say. You got a couple of other projects in Mexico, Cerro de Gallo and San Antonio. Would you like to talk about those and when they might be? Are you doing some exploration on those now, working and developing them?
We recently put out a pre-feasibility level study for Cerro de Gallo, which we believe will be our next mine that we bring online, located in the prolific gold and silver mining state of Guanajuato. That'll be our next, we'll call it round number, 100,000 ounces a year that we'll add on after Ana Paula comes online, funded by Ana
Okay.
Paula is the
Uh-huh.
idea. So we're able to show how we're able to get from our 30 to 40,000 ounces that we produced in 2025, as per our guidance, up to 300,000 ounces a year by the end of 2030. To hit that 500,000 ounce per year mark, we would be looking at M&A. That's always been part of our DNA as a company, and as a growth company, I think it has to be. So we're able to show again how we can get to 300,000 organically without any equity dilution, and then looking at potentially growing quicker as we continue to evaluate the right opportunities to tack on additional production growth.
Mhm.
I think that's something we will execute on at some point. And don't necessarily hold your breath when things imminent.
Yeah,
But that's how we get to that 500,000 ounce a year mark. And then as we re-rate, hopefully through that growth trajectory along the way, as you said, our paper gets better rated. It's
sure.
not as dilutive, and we're able to tack on those ounces cheaper in effect.
So if I understood you right, you said get up to 300,000 ounces with minimal dilution or no dilution? I didn't quite hear.
That that's the
That's the
goal,
goal.
is little to no dilution. We think we'll be able to fund the equity portion of Ana Paula, about 100 to 150 million funded by internally generated cash
Mhm.
flow. It's a $300 million initial capex bill, so then we'd be looking at 100 to 200 million in terms of a project finance facility. And again, I think we have no debt right now. About 35 million cash on the balance sheet as of our last quarter end.
Mhm.
So we're in a very strong position to be able to get that sort of project financing based on our current cap structure, and supported by our cash flowing operations along the way.
Mhm. I would imagine in terms of mergers and acquisitions, the management is probably looking at some things right now because after all, you want to acquire things before they're too expensive. And the multiples, as we just said, are not as robust as they should be, probably for the profits that are being generated. I'm guessing that you probably got some targets out there now you're already looking at, which I'm sure you can't comment on, but
We've always been looking since
yeah,
the day I joined the company. I can tell you we've been evaluating, in one way or another, potential acquisition opportunities. Obviously, we haven't executed on any of those, but we're always looking. And like you said, our multiple is getting steadily better, but is not certainly not at a premium yet. That being said, there are certainly other companies out there that trade cheaper than we do. We think so. We do see opportunities out there right now. But we've got to find the right fit for the right price for us.
I'm wondering, Stephen, if you might not be considering a listing down in say in the New York Stock Exchange? Is that a possibility with a company, maybe when you get a little more production?
I'd say it's more than a possibility. It's one of our corporate goals, and certainly
Uh-huh.
something that we understand unlocks a lot of additional investor interest south of the border for us. So right now we are listed on the TSX Venture Exchange in
Sure.
Canada, and as you said, the OTCQX exchange in the States.
Yeah.
We will be looking this year, if possible, to uplist to the TSX big board in
Yeah.
Canada, and then looking at a New York Stock Exchange listing once we're able to meet the liquidity and share price requirements, which we're getting very close to. So I think that's something that is likely to happen in 2026. And we've had a number of U.S. investors ask us about that, and it's certainly
Yeah.
something we want to reward them with when we're able.
Yeah, it would certainly seem some sort of an upgrade in Canada as well as down here. I would think would be appropriate, and a lot of other companies similar to yours down here in the New York Stock Exchange. So, all right, well then I guess that would be one driver to look forward to. Investors, I guess it's just drill results and production, quarterly earnings, that sort of thing is what we should be looking forward to this year. And it seems to me, you have in hand some production now from the two existing producers, but you also have exploration potential that people can start perceiving something bigger as well.
That's right. So we'll be looking to put out our 2026 guidance in the next couple of weeks. I think that'll be our next major catalyst, which I think is fair to say will show us our production profile growing sequentially over last year. We'll also, as you mentioned, have active drill bit stories across our entire portfolio. So we expect to see more infill and step out drill results from Ana Paula, oxide expansion drill results at San Agustin that we'll be able to show runway towards a longer mine life there, as well as both the Veta Madre Plus opportunity at La Colorada, and then later in the year, the regional exploration potential. So a steady stream of drill results there. I think our Q1 results will also be very impactful. That'll be the first full quarter where you see that cash flow hit from San Agustin. So I think that'll be a major catalyst, more so than most quarters are for us. So stay tuned. That'll be end of March for the quarter. So call it mid-May. I think that'll be a real big one for us. And then the restart of the decline at Ana Paula and a technical update on how the feasibility study work is progressing there. So yeah, rest assured we'll have a steady stream of news to keep the market appraised of all the good stuff we've got going on through 2026.
Yeah, that's a great summary. Thank you very much for your time, Stephen. This is really a story I've been watching, and I mean, spectacular drill results at Anna Paula just caught my attention. And but then you got that, plus you got the cash flows, the production. What's not to like about it? And there's low share price at this stage, I think. So, Stephen,
That's right.
thank you very much for your time. It's a story I want to keep up with. So, all the best to you and your team.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having me on, and all the best for 2026.
Absolutely. Well, with $4,400 goal, it should be a lot of fun. All right, folks. Well, that's it for this for today. Later this week, I'm expecting to talk to two CEOs, the CEOs of two companies that are merging. One is a gold producer, the other has quite a substantial silver project and a lot of other things going for it. So I won't tell you who that is, but keep your eyes on your inbox and you'll get an announcement the next couple of days about our next show. So until then, goodbye and God's blessings to you.